it is time for a new series, and I have decided that it's time to do a little bit of Halloween colouring. This is such a cute page. You know me, not a big fan of Halloween, but cutesy things I'm okay with. So this page is from the Colouring Heaven Autumn 2025 book. I think I did give a spoiler that I was going to be doing this page when I did my completed pages video anyway. So these are 4 scenes by Alexandra Dannenmann. So as you may have guessed, we'll do one for each video. So we're going to come in and have a look at this one, which is a sort of candy pumpkin, I suppose. Now I've grabbed my Polychromos pencils. The pages are going to want to sit flat. I've grabbed Polychromos because I find a harder pencil seems to work better on this paper. And I haven't used them for a while, so why not? So I'm going to start with the pumpkin. It's our sort of biggest thing, and then we're going to try and make lots of bright colours, I think. So where should we start? I think I'm going to start with the cadmium orange. Very hard for you to see in this light, but this is the cadmium orange, and I'm just going to do all of the orangey bits just to start with. So just a sort of fairly even layer. And then we'll darken some bits after. It's little wormy things. They're funny, aren't they? I guess we do get candy snakes or worms. Ugh. I don't think I've ever eaten one ever. They're sort of jelly, aren't they? I'm not really a big fan of those sort of jelly things, jelly sweets. I like jelly babies, they're really soft. But those sort of jelly worms and things are sort of quite hard. It's not really, no. I've never liked those very much. But I've never really had a sweet tooth massively, apart from for chocolate. Sweets, never, you know, I've had my fair share. I can't, you know, but it's just not really, you know, as a child, if I had a choice, what do you want from the sweet shop? Do you want sweets or crisps? I would always go for crisps. I wasn't usually allowed chocolate. It was more expensive, but I'd always go for crisps rather than sweets. Well, the sort of newsagents we used to go to. I think was it a newsagents or was it a sweet shop? Can't remember. I'm trying to think. Because we used to buy our comics and our newspaper from a different shop. So I don't know, maybe there were just loads of newsagents, because I know there was one opposite my primary school. The kids used to all go in there after school and buy their sweets, and we didn't go in there because we had another 2 on the way home, 2 other sweet shops. So there was one near where my parents still live, actually. There's a little area with shops, and we would walk past them on the way home and to school every day. And so there was like a Londis shop. Now Londis is like a corner shop brand, okay? So it's not a big brand. It's not like a Sainsbury's, Tesco. It's a big, huge shop, like supermarket. This is the dark cadmium orange. We're going to use this to put in some sort of shadowy areas on the edges here. And so we had that sort of Londis. We didn't really go in there very much, but it had a post office on it as well. We'll go in the post office a lot. And then there was a pub. I think it's still a pub, is it? Or is it a yoga studio with flats above now, I think. Anyway, and there was a butcher's, which is now a cafe. Then there was this sort of sweet shop. I'm sure it was a sweet shop, and then it became a barber's. Is it still a barber's? I think it might be. And then next door to it, there was another little shop, and I can't remember what it used to be. But it used to be a bakery, and now it's an antique shop. And then a little bit further along was the newsagents, where we got our newspapers and stuff. Right, so now I've done that, I'm going to go back to the original orange, the cadmium orange, and just darken up. So go back over this darker area and then sort of layer up the cadmium orange a bit to just sort of extend that dark area a little bit, like that. Yeah, there was that newsagent's, and then there was a wine shop, which is now a beer shop. It was an off license for a while, and then a wine shop, because supermarkets weren't allowed to sell alcohol. Only off licenses were, so they were it was quite popular for ages. We used to go in there and buy soft drinks and crisps, I seem to remember, on a Sunday, because it used to open on a Sunday, but none of the other shops did. Shops aren't allowed to open on a Sunday back then. I don't really understand. Anyway, maybe it opened late. Maybe it was the evenings rather than Sunday. I don't know. And then next to that used to be a greengrocer's, and it's now a florist. And then sort of across the road, there was another bakery, which apparently my uncle used to live behind because he worked for that bakery company. There's a sort of flat behind it, but it's now, it's a sort of cafe which sells the sort of, is it called a poker bowl or something? Smoothie bowls and noodle bowls and things like that. I don't really know how to say it. Anyway, I haven't been in there. I haven't been in any of these shops. And then a little bit of, oh, my phone. Right, I am back. It was quite a long conversation. I'm continuing with my cadmium orange to just, I don't know where I was at. So I'm just going to fiddle. The sun's just gone in. It feels really dark. I really need to get a proper blind on this window so it doesn't affect me so much when the sun goes in and out. Anyway, yes, it was a phone call from someone talking about my solar panels, saying that I could make more money from exporting, from the amount of power that I export or something, a new government scheme. I was very suspicious. I kept her talking. I was listening. I was trying to see whether it sounded genuine or not, but they usually aren't. So I was highly suspicious. And I said to her, oh, look, I'll go and check on the government website. This is dark chrome yellow, to see what they say about this new scheme. I think I would have heard about it. But anyway, I also said, oh, I just had a new inverter, which is true. I'll ask the people who installed it. Oh, they won't know because they're only an installer. I said, oh, I think they will know. I said, I'll phone them up. I'm not going to do any such thing. It doesn't, see, when we had the solar panels fitted, we had a specific agreement with the government as to how much they would pay us in a tariff for the amount of energy that we generated. And it was all you know, set up by the government to encourage people to take out solar panels back a long time ago, and that sort of thing. So they're not going to change that rule. This is I'm still with the dark chrome yellow. I'm just going to do these bits here. Oh, sounds like the recycling people are here. It's that day of the week, rubbish day. So I'm just, now I know these bits are often sort of quite white inside a pumpkin, but I like to just do a hint of orange as if they're just slightly stained with juice, or I don't know. It just looks a little bit more exciting than white. Now inside, like the eyes, nose and mouth, is it likely that there'd be a candle in there when we've got all these sweets stuffed in it? I'm not sure, but I don't really want to do them black because it's really scary. And I want to keep it not at all scary, so I think I'm going to do it yellow. So I'm going to use my cadmium yellow and just block these in really, really heavy. I'm just going to layer it up a lot so that it's nice and bright. I don't want it to look scary. There we go. Yeah, our recycling men are here. They collect. We have a big... It's interesting how it works differently in different areas of the country. But what we have is we have a big green bin, and we can put our glass, you know, jars, bottles, our tins, cans, that sort of thing, and stars. And Now I'm just thinking of a colour for these wormy things. I often see them in red and green stripes. I don't know if that sounds right, but I'm going to grab the pale geranium lake and the permanent green. Don't worry, I'll tell you the colours again in a minute. And I'm going to colour them stripy. So, pale geranium lake for the head. I'm not doing the eye a different colour because it's a jelly sweet and the eye isn't coloured. I'm just sharpening this. Yeah, so our green bins we can put in, and we can put in a Tetra Pak. So, you know, your UHT milk carton, that sort of thing. And then we have a green box, which we put in our cardboard and our, do that eye as well, cardboard and paper. Then we have a little caddy for our food waste. And they're collecting all of those today. So it takes quite a long time. But we try and make it a little bit tidier. There's so many bins outside the houses in this area because most people don't have a garage to keep them in. There's a few houses that do. My neighbour on one side does. He uses it as a workshop, so he doesn't really have room for he doesn't keep his bins in there because it's a workshop space, which is fair enough. Our garage is really tiny because we made most of it into a kitchen, and then we have a lot of flats around here, so they don't have garages. And then 3 of the houses have converted their garages into dining rooms because they were next to their kitchen. And the dining rooms were upstairs. It made a lot of sense. It's pretty much what I did. I just extended the kitchen, made a kitchen diner. It's called kitchen breakfast room, I suppose. Then there's flats. One neighbour's got a garage, which she has converted into a utility room, but she's still got enough room to keep her bin in part of it, which we would if we didn't have so much junk. Now they look a bit weird in red and white, but that's not how they're staying. We're going to use this green, the permanent green. I mean, it doesn't really matter what colour you do, I don't think. There's sweets, candies, do whatever you want. But this is how I think now. It's a bit pale, actually. I think the green's usually a bit darker. But I've committed to this colour now. It's fine. These ones are like Easter eggs, which I'm a bit confused by. But we'll go with it. Oh no, they're wrap sweets. Oh, okay. Makes more sense. It doesn't feel like the right time of year to eat an Easter egg. Somehow. But anyway, yeah, so they're collecting those, and then every other week we have the food bins get collected every week, which is lucky because we fill ours quite quick. Right, we have these little round ones, which are just pale. I'm just wondering what's there. Oh, I can just about make it out. So those pale ones that are just round, I'm just going to do them in a pink. A pink sweet's nice, isn't it? Sort of a raspberry or something. I don't know. So I'm going to use the fuchsia. I'm going to sharpen it though. Yeah, the other week we have our general waste, which is just anything that can't be recycled, really collected. So that's... and we have a really small bin for that. You can fit two bin bags in if you're lucky. It's we don't get much space. But we've got something big to dispose of soon. I mean, it's because we're getting our new sofa cushions. I think I've mentioned a lot. We've got to dispose of the old ones, and they're no good to anybody, in my opinion, because the feathers all keep coming out and poking. So you couldn't even use it for a dog bed because it would be really uncomfortable. So we just got to chuck them, and we'll have to just sort of put two in the bin one week and 2 in another week or something, I don't know. Now these to me look like chocolate sticks or chocolate biscuits. Those cylindrical delicious ones with chocolate in. I'm going to stop talking. So I can do them in brown, like a biscuit with a chocolate stripe, I think. So this very short pencil is the brown ochre. It's teeny. And I'm going to do the main part of this with this, so just not the stripe. Now I'm going to try and do the edges a little bit darker, so to try and emphasize the fact that it's round. Yeah, I'm on my own again today. My son went off about 10:25 to uni. Husband went off about 9:30 to work. My other son left at, what time does he leave? About 8:20 to get to work. So it's just me. And I was watching a bit of a TV show, actually while I was waiting for my son to disappear off, Van Dyke Brown. And I thought I'd come make some videos before lunch. So again, I'm trying to make it a little bit darker on the edges. Just to give that feel that it's a cylinder. Whoop, snap. That's gone down in there. Oh, I nearly blew my swatch chart off the desk. Now these two lollies, I'm going to do them the same as each other, but I want to have lots of bright colours. I was thinking, oh, I'll do orange. We've got quite a bit of orange going on. I could do a bit of orange. Maybe I do these little ones all the same and then do the other stripes a bit differently. Right, let's grab a pencil and go. So I'm going to do the little stripes in the dark cadmium yellow. Okay, so we've got a bit of a yellow stripe going on through. These are like the ones you buy at the seaside. Great giant ones. Perhaps it's just me. I didn't ever buy them, yuck. If I went in a sweet shop at the seaside, I would want to buy fudge. My mum would always say it was too expensive, and then she'd buy herself some nougat because she loved it. And I thought it was revolting. And I would usually be allowed but a stick of rock, which I wasn't particularly keen on, to be honest. Right, I'm just going to do a random. So we're going to get some orange glaze for the first one. I'm going to sort of pick 4 or 5 colours maybe, and then just do a mix, and then start again. Ooh. So we'll go for a purple next, I think. And what's this one? This is the violet. Yeah, so I didn't... Rock is probably something that is probably very British. Seaside, you get a stick, you know, thicker than a pencil, and you can use the madder next. And inside, if you sort of cut it through, it's got like the name of the place. So it might say Blackpool or whatever, wherever you are, Brighton, you know. And then there we go. Let's go green. This green. This is the grass green. I'm going to sharpen it. Yes, and it would just be like a hard-boiled sweet, really. The how it would feel, very sticky, and mint flavour, and just a bit boring, really. The outside shell would be coloured usually in pink. I want one more colour. What should we do? What would be a nice colour to eat? Not blue. Maybe a lighter pink. Maybe we'll do that. This is the light magenta. Can't find the name. I can't read it anyway. So light magenta. Yeah. So yes, I'd be allowed to stick a rock, and inside it would be wrapped in a piece of cellophane, and there'd be a piece of paper inside the cellophane. We're going to go back through, so we're going to go back to our orange, and on that piece of paper would often be a little black and white photograph of the place you're at, and it would be tiniest piece of paper because they're meant to be bought as souvenirs, you know, and it would often stick on the rock because the rock was sticky, and then you'd end up having to eat a bit of this paper because you couldn't peel it off. Ugh. So yes, not a big fan. Oh. So, yeah, that's a rock. But I'm sure they used to sell these lollies. I'm sure I used to see them in the shops. I can't think if I'm still doing the right order. I think I am. And I'm sure they have all sorts of sweets these days. So back to orange, yeah. You still always have fish and chips for the beach. That's very traditional as well. I used to, I haven't had fish and chips for so long. Such a nice treat on the odd occasion. But no. Not the healthiest of meals, I guess. But it's something that I think my parents have it quite often, but they eat out. They have it in sort of restaurants and stuff. Right, that's those done. Now I've got a little stick. Now I often quite think let's leave it white, but we'll just make it look a little bit wooden with this green gold. So just a tad of green gold. You could use your brown ochre if you'd rather, but just trying to use a different colour. I don't know why. Now we've got these sort of boiled sweet wrappers here. What should we use for those? I'm thinking I might go for purple again. I might go for the dark, the what's it called, mauve. I really should know. Oh, wrong way. There we go, the mauve. And I'm just going to sharpen it and do the smaller bits. I'm going to do the dots and the very outside of the paper with this. So here. So I think we'll be seeing all the sort of Halloween themed sweets in the shops. I don't tend to look in the sweetie aisle or the seasonal aisles very often, so I don't really see them. I know some shops have already got Christmas stuff in. I think they just like to tempt you early. You know, oh look, here's our new sort of whatever it might be. And then people will buy it and then they'll eat it, of course, because, you know, they're tempted, and then they'll buy more when it comes to Christmas. I think they just want to encourage us to indulge. But I don't tend to do that much special Christmas food. I tend to get some of my favourite chocolate. And now, what other colours should we do? We could do a pink, we could do, I know, we'll do this one. This is the middle purple pink. Yeah, so I tend to get some of my favourite chocolate in, and I practice making a roast dinner a little bit, roast potatoes and things. We don't tend to have them very often, but they're our sort of Christmassy treat. And then that's all really. I do a sort of bean bake, and that's a bit of the wrapper, isn't it, there? And that sort of thing, and just, you know, make some nice gravy. Yeah. But the husband and children, they might like a mince pie or a bit of Christmas cake sometimes, that sort of thing. But we try not to just... The thing is, how I see it is that, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's Christmas, we've got to buy all the things while we can and all that. And I try to think about the fact that it comes along every year. So if I don't buy it today, I can buy it next year or the year after, whatever. You know, you don't have to feel that you need to indulge just because it's there. Right, I'm going to use the middle cadmium red for these candies, and I'm going to use it on the outside of the wrapper, and then for two of the stripes like that. Yeah, so I try not to be too indulgent, and Halloween is not something we celebrate, so we don't get sweets in for that. I have done in the past for trick-or-treaters and stuff, but I just really hate it. I just get too scared. when they all have those horrible screen masks on, it's just nasty. I just don't want to be part of it. So I'm not anymore. So I just turned the lights out and hide, and I don't think there are many little kids in our street anymore. This is the light chrome yellow, so you know we don't get them around, so it's fine. And yeah, my sister's kids like doing it, but they can't go trick-or-treating because they're vegans, so they never get anything that they can have. So they used to go, and then they would, when someone knocked on the door, they'd give it back to someone, give it to someone else, which was fine, or pop it in the food bank or something like that, you know. But they don't go out anymore. I mean, they're getting too old, I suppose. I'm going to use the crimson for these last ones here. I don't know what they are. Little coil, something. Now we've got this dotty here as if we're sort of sitting on the ground. So we could use a green or a brown, you know, or a grey, depending on where we think this is. We're outside. We've got all these stars. All of these pictures have got stars, which is nice. So I think a bit of grass would just brighten, lighten a bit. So I'm going to use the light green because we've used the grass green already. I'm just going to put a little touch around these items where the dots are really. I'm not doing it in a grassy direction because it's quite difficult. It's easier to do it in this direction. And it's just a little nod. It's not supposed to be like this is grass. It's just, you know, realistic or anything. There we go. Oh, I'm just going to pop my phone back on just to see if anyone's been in touch, but they haven't. So that's absolutely fine. Just heard a train go by and it reminded me. Now the stars. I think I'm going to do a sort of just a nice yellowy colour. This is the dark Naples ochre. Now you could of course do these in a glittery pen, you know, a gold glitter pen or a gold metallic pen, something like that. And you could of course put a sky into this picture and colour it. If you coloured it black, this would really stand out, although I think some of this is quite dark, so it might get a little bit lost. But I'm thinking I might not do a backgroundy bit, you know, because we've got this one to do. And I'm just going to try something. Hang on. I've got this little circle template here, and I think if I put that round there, will it? Oh, might work. But I've got to try and find the dead centre of the picture, put it in the centre of the circle, which is quite difficult. And then I could draw an arc around here and then colour in that background, but it's going to encroach on this page. Can you see? Because that, if I did the same on there, that would come across there. So I don't think it's quite going to work. So I'm actually not going to do that, but it's just a little idea for you. This is a nice little circle. It's good for all sorts of circles. I haven't used it much, but it's very handy. So I think I'm going to end there. Just leave it bright and colourful. I think the addition of black could actually make it look less friendly, you know, a little bit scary. Don't want scary. So there we are. So thank you for watching today. I will be doing the others on the page. We've got our owl, got a haunted house, and we've got a witch's hat. They're all cute and fun. So I'll be doing those and all with the Polychromos pencils. But thank you for watching today. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and happy colouring.